So in our saltwater motorcycle series, I'm working in the same shop in North Vancouver, and the boss went to Florida for a month. It was getting on in the fall, so things are slowing down. Even though in Vancouver you can ride your motorcycle all year round, which I, as a young guy, delighted in. But anyways, I digress. A fellow comes in and he says. He's in Horseshoe Bay, which is the ferry terminal over to Nanaimo and Victoria on Vancouver Island. And he says, my Suzuki Intruder 1100 got pushed off the end of the dock in Horseshoe Bay. And I'm like, and he's like, no, that's my thing. I do deep water salvage recovery. He said it was in about 30 feet of water, but I pulled it right out. I flushed the engine with diesel fuel. I changed the oil twice. The carbs, the drive shaft, differential fluid, everything. It's fine, but I really need money bad. I'm like, not really, He's like, I really need money. Would you come look at it? So I get in the company van. I drive out, and it's sitting on the end of the dock where his business is, his salvage business. And the story is, it was all about cocaine and a debt, and they pushed his bike off as a, give us some money or it gets worse. The bike looked pristine, and those Suzuki 1100s at the time were very popular, and they were real well built, and I thought, and a lot of people thought, really good looking Japanese cruiser for the era. And again, a good solid motorcycle. Quite in demand, quite coveted, and probably worth like $5,000 at the time. This would have been again in the early mid 90s or something. I said, dude, I just, I really don't even want this bike, And he was desperate for money. So the long short of it is, $800. I said, and even then my boss isn't really going to be impressed. I'm not buying it personally, I'm buying it for the shop. So anyways, $800, I bring the bike back. The boss comes home from Florida, sitting in the corner of the service department. He's like, what's up with that? And I told him, and he's like, $800, Scott, like, there isn't much, we wash the forks out now, and I think those bikes had spoke wheels, so you're not going to salvage those. What really is there, that's going to be usable? The tank and the side covers, the forks, anything with electronics, no, If you completely stripped the motor and transmission, and I mean completely. Well, anyways, nothing was done with it. It sat there in the corner of the service department. Because these bikes were so coveted, guys would, I could take that home. I know how to work on motorcycles. And we'd be like, no, not at any price, dude. Just don't do it. It's turned into an objet d'art at this point in time, sitting in the corner. So over the winter when I was off, my boss sold a package deal of motorcycles to a competitor, a rival, if you will, although the motorcycle community always helps each other out. But the other guy, really unscrupuled dude. I wouldn't even speak to him. Total sociopath. So anyways, another year goes by, and we're at the bike show. And when you work in the industry, it's nice because you get to go in a day before it's open to the public, see all the new stuff. We all, intercommunicate with each other without the public around. It's one of the upsides of working in the motorcycle industry. And I said to, the unscrupuled guy who bought the saltwater Suzuki, as we'd come to call it, and all the other bikes, I called him Fentoon. So during the course of the weekend at the bike show, I said to my guys, hey, that's our saltwater Suzuki over in Fentoon's display. He's got it there for $3,800. And they were kind of arguing with me. They were going, no, it's not the same bike. The rear end's been bobbed. The seat's a solo seat. The instrumentation cluster's all been removed, like bobbed. to use an antiquated term even then. And it's been painted robin egg blue. And I said, no, I'm pretty sure that's the same bike. So Sunday, the show's wrapping up. It's closed to the public. Everybody's, wrapping up, hauling their stuff away. I was sitting in the beer tent with one of my employees, Victor. My head mechanic comes in, he goes, oh yeah, because Victor had argued it wasn't the saltwater Suzuki. So yeah, Scott, Victor, come on, check this out. So there we see Fentoon's crew trying to push out the saltwater Suzuki. Fentoon, because he was a crook, always just had a crew of young guys that revolved because he stole from them the same as he did everybody else. Sociopath, right? So here's these 4 young green guys, and you have to learn how to roll motorcycles around. You'll wear yourself out until you find that magic balance point and you can just wheel them around all day. We'd push 30 motorcycles out and back in every day, just as an example. So anyways, here's these 4 guys struggling. The wheels are seized. They're trying to push it across the, they put out carpet in the aisleways for the show, and one guy's trying to hold the carpet and the other 3 guys are wrestling with the thing. It had just seized into a lump. Well, my point is, if a motorcycle falls in the salt water, it's over. It's done. There is no salvaging it. Fresh water, yeah. Salt water, not gonna happen. And I imagine by now that well, how many years later are we talking now? I don't know, 40, 30 years later. The thing's probably just one big cancerous, mineral salt ball. Yeah, the saltwater Suzuki. Anyways, story time's over for today, guys, as far as saltwater motorcycles go. Anyways.